Shut up and sit down.
Today on Critical Mass, we're talking movies with our special guest, George Lucas. What? George? No George Lucas then. Joe. Who the hell is Joe? Alright, stick around.
Yo, welcome to Critical Mass, y'all. This be your live DJ coming to you straight out the ghetto. I tell you what.
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry, I was doing a new thing.
What?
This is Critical Mass, everybody. Welcome.
This is Critical Mass, and I'm sorry.
This is a special episode where we're going to be talking about movies.
Can we go back to the intro for a second?
Yeah, let's start over. Okay, ready? And we're live here at Critical Mass.
We're not live. We're not a live show. This is a podcast.
But I'm saying words and you can hear me live.
I keep explaining this to him, and he doesn't get it. He tried to do the traffic report, if you guys remember last episode.
But, okay, I was talking to our producer.
Me?
No, his name's Jeremy. He lives outside.
Jeremy that lives outside.
Hey, he lives under your...
Are you off your meds?
You know your front steps? There's a little hole down there?
Yeah.
Well, I went under there last time.
Oh.
And this guy, Jeremy, who lives under there, he was telling me that some things need to be changed on the show. So we kind of talked about it, and he's the producer now. I named him the producer.
Okay, so does this mean
There's a little window just above us. You can see us.
Oh, my God. Does that mean that maybe the People Under the Stairs is one of your movies on your top 5?
No, but I've never heard of it. Do you want to make fun of me for not hearing that?
I mean,
knowing that?
It's a horror movie that...
The People Under the Stairs?
Yeah, it was terrifying as a child, and then I watched it again. And
I'm sure Pickles has heard of it.
Pickles. He definitely has.
Yeah.
Pickles. So, today we're... listen, here at Critical Mass, we've talked a lot about politics lately. A lot of stuff.
Boring.
About a lot of things. Yeah, but important stuff. So, our next venture, we wanted to kind of lighten it up a little bit. We want to talk about movies.
I fell asleep while you were explaining that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Typically, you do fall asleep when I'm speaking. Now, movies. Why movies? Dan, can you tell us a little bit about that? Why we chose this?
Escapism.
Okay, escapism. If you could flesh that out not with your fleshlight, use your words.
I don't know. Why are movies so great? I don't know. I think they take us to a different place. They do things for us. Some intellectuals like certain movies, because it helps them think. Other people that are more emotional like the movies because it brings up other feelings and it makes them feel good.
I like it.
Other people, like maybe visual people, just love to watch shit get blown up. But I think we all just enjoy not having to live in our real life for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I like the term escapism you used. Sometimes there's just a lot of shit going on in your life, or maybe just not. Maybe you're just wanting to escape for a little bit into someone else's world, someone else's problems, and make them your own for that 2 to 3 hours. Or if it's a fucking Lord of the Rings movie, 17 and a half hours.
Jesus.
And you can just allow yourself to escape into that.
So what we'll do here is we'll introduce our guest this week.
We have a guest?
He goes by the name of Terry.
No, actually my name's Joe. We've known each other for 18 years.
Decades. I thought his name was Joaquin.
I'm so embarrassed.
I'm very confused.
Is this the Critical Mass podcast?
We might be in the wrong studio.
Hold on.
This isn't a studio.
Do I have to go?
Basement.
Anyways. So you said Joe?
Yeah,
Joe is here.
You nailed it.
Joe likes movies too. Joe's been watching movies his entire life. I spoke with his mom about this.
Which is
she
pretty
used to
impressive.
put headphones onto her belly while she was pregnant with him.
Is that a fact?
And just play all kinds of movies.
No, that never I never said that. Or,
all right.
No.
So
These are alternative facts. You don't know
okay.
that they're not true.
Here we go.
No, I know that. I couldn't be more certain of anything ever.
Anyways, Joe really likes movies. He knows his shit. He's smart. He's funny.
Snappy dresser.
And he's very strong. So we're not going to want to disagree with him too much today.
No, Joe will literally rip your face off. I've been told he's like a live bear.
Yeah.
That's my finishing move.
Right.
is
And
face
Finish
painting.
him.
Here's a little bit of a spoiler alert for the listeners. Rocness loves Star Wars.
What?
And if you are bored with the idea of Star Wars, then just turn this off right now.
You might want to stop.
We are going to be talking about a lot of things today, but Star Wars is going to be probably a good chunk of it. So
Well, I mean, let's
not lie. Come on, you're getting a half chub right now just because I said you're wearing a Star Wars T-shirt.
because it's the movie episode, and
I'm wearing a Michael Bolton shirt. What are you wearing, Joe? Oh, that's Bloodsport. Oh,
which is number one. I'm gonna little prediction here. I'm gonna guess that Office Space is on your top 5 movies because you
of course it
oh,
is.
good call. Was this subconscious?
no.
It might.
I think it was because I wasn't thinking about it. Anyway,
Why should I change my name?
He's the one that sucks.
Hey, let's just quote all day. You
Well,
fuck.
I mean, it's
you
gonna
dumb fuck.
It's gonna fuck you. I'm tired of shit.
Rocness. This is what we've done, folks. We gave each other assignments.
Yep.
So I gave the two of them a movie to watch. Rock gave Joe and I a movie to watch, and Joe gave the Rocness and myself a movie to watch.
So
I think I gave the worst movie, but it wasn't like I thought this is great, so I wanted to assign you this movie.
Okay.
It was just, like I had told you, they were honestly just a few movies I had seen recently.
Right. Now we decided that we would watch the 2016 version of Ghostbusters.
Yes, that was Joe's pick, was the 2016 version of Ghostbusters.
Right.
Then, Dan, your pick was Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Right.
Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Fantastic pick. In fact, I really liked all of our picks, Joe. I was a big fan. I went to the theater to see the Ghostbusters film, the new one.
Really? I didn't even do that. And Ghostbusters, spoiler alert, it is not on my top 5, but like I was telling Dan, it was the first movie I really have memory of watching.
Yep, same.
And I used to just rewind it and watch it again, and I knew it by heart by the time I was like 4.
How many times did you watch
cartoon.
the scene where it goes, Winston?
Oh, I used to reenact all the scenes too.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, I had a proton pack.
Oh
and
yeah, I had the
trap.
trap. Yep. Oh man.
Hell yeah.
We
We're
were-
definitely, with Star Wars, I think Ghostbusters is definitely going to be a conversation today.
Good to know we were cut from the
Absolutely.
same nerdy nosebleed cloth.
Right.
That's very true.
And Rocness, what's
I chose
the movie that you gave us to watch?
the original Star Wars film, retitled to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, original date 1977. I didn't really need to go that much detail. I could have just said Star Wars,
Yeah.
but I just got detailed with it.
Once Dan said Raiders of the Lost Ark, I was thinking, oh shit, I should have suggested Blade Runner, and then we would have stuck with Harrison
Ooh, a
Ford.
little Harrison
Adventures.
Ford action. Blade Runner, classic.
Well, let me just jump right into this. When Rocness suggested that we watch Star Wars, I watched the first one and then felt compelled to watch 2 and 3 of the original.
Well, hang on.
But
say it right for the actual Star Wars nerds.
Episode 4, 5, and 6.
No, Dan, say it
Thank you.
exactly how you said it, please.
Well, 1, 2, and 3.
I'm going to be making those mistakes too.
Abominations, man. The
Whatever.
prequels.
They fucking know what I mean. So when I was watching this, I was like, oh, the only reason I would even watch any more of this is because of Harrison Ford.
Okay, go into that for a second.
That's a little harsh. I think I exaggerated there. I think
so
what I
too.
really mean to say is I think he's my favorite part of the whole series. His character, Han Solo.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's go. You know what? Let's go ahead and start, Dan. We're going to start with you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I already started. I don't know if the listeners want to call you. I said I was jumping right in.
I'm not 100% in love with your tone right now.
Harrison
I did
Ford
notice
is-
you were fiddling with things, though.
Yeah, getting out your diary.
You know what? I quit.
Okay, sit down.
So
Harrison Ford is kind of the Jack Burton of the Star Wars movie, isn't he?
Who's Jack Burton?
Big Trouble in Little China. All right, move on. Go.
Anyway,
Josh,
I don't know if he was nervous or scared there.
If Josh
for his
ever
own
listens
anger.
to this, he'll agree with me. If he's ever seen Star Wars too, I guess. Okay, so that leaves.
Okay, so that
possibly
led
one
me
person
to
in the
Harrison Ford now, because I was trying to come up with movies for you guys to see.
Okay.
That you guys had access to, because we don't have blockbusters anymore. They're gone. I don't know if you know that. We can't just say, hey, go down to the corner and grab this movie that is most likely on their shelves.
It's a sad thing.
It is. So if it's not on Netflix, if it's not on Hulu or Crackle or anything that you can stream, if you even have
Amazon,
that ability,
Vudu.
then you're going to have to what? Go to the library? Because that's what I did.
That's what you did.
I had to go to the library to get Star Wars. Isn't that sad?
I mean, it's sad that you didn't have it in your movie collection. Really, that's my.
Well,
that's
at
what
least,
I'm thinking.
You only had the Blu-ray versions.
Yeah.
You would think that you would have VHS, standard DVD, Blu-ray, Laserdisc.
I had VHS. I don't know where it is. I had DVDs. Lance was leaving for Colorado. I realized that Lance did not have the Star Wars collection, so I gave him my
Probably because he
entire
doesn't
DVD
give a
set.
shit.
No, every man should have it as part. You know
Every
what?
man.
You know what?
Do you have a drill?
Why don't you? What? I have a drill.
Okay, just checking.
Oh, that makes me a man now?
Yeah.
Having a power drill. Tell you what, I got it where it counts, pal.
Oh.
Anyway.
In his little finger. So that led me to, well, okay, I really like Harrison Ford, and one of the greatest, well, now it's not a trilogy, there's a fourth one, is Indiana Jones. I grew up watching those movies. They were fantastic, and I said, let me watch Raiders. And I was like, you know what? This is a great movie. I'm going to make them watch this. So,
Incidentally, Raiders of the Lost Ark was probably like my maybe third movie, like Ghostbusters, that I became obsessed with.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Joe.
And a little shinfo. Raiders of the Lost Ark was referenced in Jeopardy's final answer.
yeah.
Where the question was like, the answer was like, whatever. It was like Charlton Heston's 1954 character in the movie. It was like Secrets of the Incas or something, but the wardrobe inspired the wardrobe for this character 27 years later. And so I was thinking like Charlton Heston, Secrets of the Incas. The movie was obviously 1981, and I actually got it right, guessed Indiana Jones. One of the very rare times I get any Jeopardy question correct.
Oh, I get most of them correct, don't you?
I do well.
Yeah.
But not always or often or
I
really not
wait.
at all.
I wait for the first one I get right, and then I change the channel
Right.
so I can feel smart.
So, Rocness and Joe, what do you think of Raiders? What made it so great? Or what were some of its downfalls?
Okay, well,
And by the way, I want to mention the statutory rape, but we'll get into that later. Go ahead.
Okay. Joe, do you want to go or do you want me to start?
Please.
Okay, so Raiders of the Lost Ark, the entire Indiana Jones collection, really, kind of, for me, harks back to spending time with my dad. My dad was a huge Indiana Jones fan. And
Stop! I'm going to cry.
Oh, stop. And he kind of got me into those movies, and at the time, I was already a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, so I get to see Han Solo in our universe, in our time.
Right.
With a whip, a freaking fancy cool hat. He's, by day, he's a college professor, but by night, he is an archaeologist that for some reason fights Nazis. And let's be honest, if there's one group of people everyone really hates, except for all of the Trump supporters, is Nazis. So I mean,
couldn't help it. You couldn't help it, could you?
Couldn't help it. I couldn't help telling the truth. Anyway, but in all seriousness, it does remind me the biggest part for me, and I'm going to probably bring this up a lot because my dad inspired my love of movies. Is that it was one of those things where let's put on Raiders of the Lost Ark and let's watch that together, and just the scenes, all of it, the dialogue. I mean, I loved those movies, all of them. But Raiders for me will forever be I mean, it was our first introduction to Indiana Jones. You know, Raiders.
Right, of course.
It's the first one.
It's the first one.
So, for me...
I mean, only an idiot would look at a trilogy and think that the second movie is the better one.
Let's save that for the top 5.
I was about to say Terminator, but now that has like fucking 4 of them that no one cares about.
But the second Terminator was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the second Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, I feel, was the worst of all of them. No, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was the worst, then Temple of Doom.
Right. I didn't even see the fourth one.
It's kind of funny that...
That's sad.
Just see it.
Was
You're
Temple
not
of
going to like
Doom-
it.
Okay, just see it.
Was Temple of Doom the Sean Connery one?
No, that was
Raiders of the...
No, that was...
Oh, that was...
the Last Crusade.
Really? I
Last
guess I
Crusade.
missed him.
The Last Crusade, yeah.
And that was, to me, Raiders and The Last Crusade, they just keep changing positions as to which one's the best.
Right.
Because of Connery. Because of fucking Connery.
Oh, I know. He's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely
The
fantastic.
dialogue that they have together as father and son, it's... And this is why I think that the Indiana Jones series is so strong and, in my opinion, better than Star Wars. Hear me out. In my opinion.
We're going to come back to that.
In my opinion, because
I guess this will be a 2-part.
there's more humor involved. Like, Harrison Ford has a very dry sense of humor.
He does. Did you hear what he said in the recent interview about Star Wars?
No.
So the next Star Wars anthology film is going to be Star Wars Young Han Solo.
Okay.
And the reporter, like on some kind of red carpet thing, I don't know what it was, Harrison Ford was like, "Oh, are you excited to see the young you?" As you know, and he straight faced, completely serious. No, not at all. I'm not excited at all. And they're like, "Oh," and he's like, "I still don't get Star Wars. I was in the movies. I don't understand it. I don't get why it's so." And it's true. That's always been his attitude. He wanted to be killed off almost immediately because he didn't want to do the movies anymore.
Wow.
So you talk about dry sense of humor. I mean, yeah, part of it was being funny, but let's be honest.
Yeah,
he
was just a
he
straight
was
shooter.
being serious.
Yeah. But, like the scene in where he's with his father and they're tied to the chairs back to back and he's trying to talk to one another, but they keep looking the wrong way.
They figure out they're Eskimo buddies.
Dad!
They're Eskimo brothers.
Yeah. Because they slept with the same
They
woman.
fucked the same chick.
Yeah, so that's for me why it makes the series a little bit more watchable because it's peppered in with humor here and there.
What movie was it where I just saw a movie where this chick was like, "I'm sleeping with your dad." It was The Nice Guys, right?
I was going to watch it last night,
Oh, you
but I
didn't?
had to
Okay.
babysit.
Okay, well, for anybody.
The Nice Guys.
Yeah,
Completely impertinent.
Russell
comment.
Crowe and Fuckface that everybody likes so much. Actually, I like him too. What's his name? Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Oh, Gosling?
I like.
Gotta love Gosling.
Yeah.
You know what? I do really like him, but I don't understand why women find him like a level 11
Like a god.
attractiveness.
First of all, he's Canadian. First of
what
all.
does that have to do with it?
Canadians are beautiful people.
Alex
But
Trebek.
I'm not saying he's ugly by any means. I think he's a good-looking guy. I just don't see the immediate panty-dropping level hotness. Do you know what I'm saying?
Every time I see him, the tip of my cock becomes very wet.
You gotta. I think that's syphilis, buddy.
God damn it. I gotta go to the free clinic again.
What was I saying? So yeah, like The Nice Guys you mentioned, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's peppered in with this humor. That's why I like the Indiana Jones series a little bit better than Star Wars because Star Wars is just so fucking serious. It's fucking
maybe
2.5 hours of people being serious. I don't know.
There was humor smattered into Star Wars, but you're right, not as much as Indy. I'll agree with you.
Yeah,
Actually, George Lucas did the story to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That is correct.
And there's even a little engraving in the Well of Souls scene where they're trying to like lift up the Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's an engraving of R2-D2 and C-3PO.
That is
No way.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Also in Temple of Doom, in the beginning, that club where all hell breaks loose and there's the machine guns. You know what the name of that club was?
No.
Club Obi-Wan.
Wow.
Yeah, the sign of the club at the beginning.
Does that have something to do with Star Wars?
Joe, I am going to literally leap across this table.
Okay, so Raiders of the Lost Ark opens.
Yes.
And immediately I'm thinking Harrison Ford is a national treasure and a hero. And here's why.
America.
I don't know where they filmed that scene, but what fucking human being wears a leather jacket in the jungle?
Indiana fucking Jones.
Have you ever seen a TV show? The Walking Dead.
No, I don't watch.
It's
Critical Mass does not support The Walking Dead.
I'm not either
Rocness
necessarily.
doesn't.
I'm just talking about dressing inappropriately warm for no reason. Yeah.
Just because it looks cool.
Well, I guess you could, if you want to defend The Walking Dead, which these days I really don't, but
Yeah.
you would say that it's to, stay consistent with the comics, I guess, which I didn't read and I don't give a shit about.
Right.
But
Yeah, so I'm
such a
watching
boring
this,
show.
and I'm like, dude is dressed to the nines. And clearly it's hot. Like, you could see the dude's got a tan because he's been out in the sun so long.
Right.
With a young, what was that, Alfred Molina?
I don't know who you're talking about.
He would play Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. He's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I know
they're
what
out
you're
there.
talking
They're sweating. He's dirty.
Let me get his name.
He almost looks African. I mean, he is dark. And he's wearing this leather fucking jacket in the jungle.
I mean, yeah.
Can you imagine
That
just
is Alfred
standing on
Molina, by the
set
way.
waiting for lighting to
Thank
get
you.
correct? Like, just hot as
Well,
balls.
if you had a leather jacket that you looked that good in, would you ever take it off?
I wear it everywhere.
Good point. Good point, Joe. This is why we bring you on.
This is why we have Joe here.
See you later, guys.
So that was my first problem, was that, all right, clearly they have an image they want you to see him as,
Yep.
This cool motherfucker with a leather jacket, a cool whip, and a hat. He doesn't give shit from anybody.
Whip. Why is that?
Because you're
whip?
whispering into it.
Whip.
Then, so that bothered me, but not too much.
Okay.
Then he goes to the bar where he meets the young
Miss
woman.
Ravenwood.
Right. And she's like, oh, you scorned me, and I'm going to fucking slap you across the face. And she's like...
I was just a girl! I watched this twice, by the way, since you've asked me to watch it.
She's like, yeah...
I didn't watch it at all.
She didn't say
I remembered enough
just
of
a girl. She also alluded to the fact that she was underage.
Things were...
Yeah.
Well, that
and then
were
he's
different
like...
back
So
then.
that would make her the first underage female to have sex, and I think the history of
Well, but with a man who was not underage.
Yes. Now,
And he was like, you know what you were doing.
yes. He did.
So there's statutory rape in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Well, discussion of statutory
Right,
rape,
that's what I mean.
But, listen to me. First of all, he's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants.
Oh, okay.
Number one.
Okay.
Number
Bill
two,
O'Reilly.
she wanted it.
Number two. Number two, it was a different time.
Right.
Not acceptable. Still.
But normal, I guess. Enough.
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to defend this, so I'm just not going to.
Right. Well, I
just
just thought it
hard.
was a funny little, did they just
Yeah.
kind of casually mention that she was underage?
I
and
just
you
don't want to
fucked her?
defend
Okay.
this, so I'm not going to bother. Let's move on.
Well, then having Sean Connery in,
Oh, my God.
that's
Oh,
the
right. Yeah.
wife beater. I mean,
I smack her around a couple of times.
Yeah. Wow, what a weirdo. Okay, so
Okay, Sean.
and then the rest of the movie was smooth sailing for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, everything was...
but it's funny though because I think within their relationship, it seems like she's kind of the more powerful of the two, right?
Aggressive personality. Yeah.
And
Very.
But it ends up where everybody, like they go on a unicorn ride over a rainbow, and then everybody just gets ice cream at the end of it.
I'm really not sure what movie you watched.
Anyway, so that's why I wanted you guys to watch. I thought it was cool. Obviously, you think it's great.
I love the Indiana Jones. I
Joe
mean, it's
thinks it's
Spielberg, Lucas, Harrison Ford. What
Yeah.
more could a Star Wars fan really ask for?
Yeah.
except Star Wars, maybe.
Maybe. It's true.
Do we want to get
And-
into this Star Wars nonsense?
No, I mean, maybe we should talk about Ghostbusters.
Okay. So there was a big to-do about...
Well, wait.
The female version.
Hang on, stop a second.
Okay.
Joe, did you... I feel like... What about Raiders? Talk to us about Raiders first. 'cause
Oh,
then
let's
go to
backtrack.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, good thinking. I don't know. I mean, I think you guys pretty much said it all.
If you want to leave,
I don't
I
think
mean, that's fine by me.
I'm glad we brought in a guest. As soon as we ask him a question, you know what? Feel like you guys set it off.
Yeah,
I'm all set.
Bye.
Really glad to be on, guys.
So glad to be here.
Yeah, no, if I want to fucking say something, I will.
Yeah, God damn it.
Thanks
Fucking
for trying
say
to.
it.
Yeah,
So
don't push me.
So you got nothing?
Joe, what do you think of Raiders?
It's hard for me to go back and analyze the movie as an adult and try to be all intelligent and articulate and stuff because I loved it when I was fucking 5. So I guess the same reasons you did. I mean, it's a great adventure, kind of like Star Wars is. Yeah,
it is an adventure. You're right.
He's like a nerdy ass superhero, you know.
Yeah.
Professor by day, and you know why he wields a whip. I don't know, but instead of he does use the gun in that one scene. Actually, the scene where he shoots the dude with the sword. He was supposed to use his whip, but they all had fucking food poisoning. So they did a bunch of takes where he couldn't get it right with the whip, and eventually. Spielberg was like, Harrison Ford suggested to just shoot him, and Spielberg was like, "Yeah, definitely, let's go with it."
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny.
Well, Harrison Ford did a lot of ad-libbing in a lot of his movies. Like there was that where he suggested, let me just shoot him." And then in Star Wars 2, one of the most famous lines of the entire trilogy was completely ad-libbed by him.
Yeah.
Which
for me,
was...
I think. Go ahead.
You don't know?
No.
I think the greatest love scene in any movie ever. When he's about to go be frozen in carbonite, the original line was Princess Leia was supposed to say "I love you," and he was supposed to say "I love you too."
And he just said.
But he said "I know,"
and then he just jumps in.
That was just to this day. That's one of the most iconic. I mean,
it was badass.
Well, yeah, because he just. Yeah. Like he knew, and then before then, if you remember, what made it all the more, where he was definitely that was his way of saying it was Han Solo's way of saying I love you too, was right before that Chewie goes apeshit and starts throwing stormtroopers, and he was telling me you need to stop, you need to stop, you need to stop. Listen, I'm going to be gone. You need to take care of the princess. She needs you now.
Yeah,
she needs you now. You come back for me later, and that kind of towards this woman. You know, of whom you just kind of think he fucking hates, just can't stand.
He's annoyed by her, by the very
just
least.
Annoyed by her existence.
Yeah.
That's him. And then she sees that she's with her feel. If you read the novelization, Shadows of the Empire, it's funny that you actually get to read about Leia's mindset. I know. I said I love you, and his response was I know. What does that even mean? But anyway, it's deeper. But anyway, that was Harrison Ford. That's what he did. He peppered in his own shit, and it always turned out well.
But also texturally for me, Raiders and the Indiana Jones series.
Yes.
To use a snobby word like texturally.
Texturally.
Okay, Star Wars is lasers and space. And,
I mean, it's more,
and
but okay.
aliens that don't exist. And
you don't know that.
And Indiana Jones is guns and fist-to-fist combat and leather jackets and whips.
Leather jackets.
You know what I mean?
That sounds really homoerotic.
Like, I guess, yeah. I guess I enjoyed watching something that I felt a little closer to reality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There are people that are. I've talked to many people because our buddy Captain's the same way. It's called your suspension of disbelief, and some people are gonna be kind of drift more towards movies that are either feasible or something that's within our timeline, but then have an issue with like sci-fi because it doesn't have to do with it. They feel like they can't. What's the word I'm looking for? Can't.
Suspend their disbelief.
Well, that, but like they can't relate, I guess.
Yeah.
And for me, well, I'll talk about Star Wars.
So
later,
in Return of the Jedi, there's a big battle scene at the end.
The Battle of Endor.
And one of the big triangular ships,
Star Destroyer,
gets blowed up, and
the massive one, the biggest one.
I don't know, but it starts to tip down as if it's sinking in an ocean and falling on top of another big ship.
Okay, so that was the destruction of Executor, which was the flagship, and that's also Darth Vader's personal ship.
Right. So that gets blown up in space and all of a
Correct.
sudden sinks in an area where there's no gravity.
Did you see that one?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So it
Thank you.
sinks like a boat would sink
Yes.
into another ship.
Yes.
I'm like,
Suspension of
this
disbelief.
This is space.
It should just be floating.
It should just yeah.
That gets fixed in other. There's explanations that are.
Sounds
very
like you don't have
long-winded.
an explanation.
Everything else was plausible enough. To,
And that's thank you.
just-
you know what?
I didn't-
Joe
I
said it
didn't
No,
like-
but come on! I'm watching a
had
space movie, and one of them sinks like a boat in the
Laser
ocean.
swords.
well, where
the
did
force.
where did
Really?
the explosion come from? The top of the ship? Because there's no
It was
gravity.
all
so-
over. You got to watch the scene, dude. It's like, are you serious? Come on.
Really, Jedi, laser swords, blaster pistols, and this is your suspension of disbelief. Is the sinking?
Come on.
I mean, come
Well,
on.
that looks dumb.
Like of all the things in the movie, this is
But
what
it's
you're
like
saying.
it's like what a 7-year-old would do when he's pretending in a bathtub. It's come on.
Well, maybe they're. You know what? Okay.
Well, Star Wars wasn't exactly known for its special effects, all right?
Yeah, right.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
So, Joe, did
Yeah.
on the scale of 1980s big blockbuster movies, where would you place the Indiana Jones / Raiders?
Ooh, I like this question.
Wow. That's tough, Dan, because you're bringing up some
Bringing up
amazing
The
movies.
Ghostbusters,
and
the Star Wars's. I'll include Star Wars in
and
that.
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal
Oh
Weapons,
God, the Lethal Weapons
Predator?
is great.
Predators,
Yeah.
Terminators.
A lot of good Rocky films.
Yeah.
The only good Rocky films.
Wow. See, I loved Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I don't know. What am I supposed to place the movie like in a top 10 or
I mean,
just how it ranks in
do you
general?
would you even include it in the top 5?
of 80s blockbusters?
Yeah.
Probably not, no.
Wow.
But
okay.
that being said, I love the movie.
Right.
I mean,
right. Okay. No. Enough said. Enough
it's
said.
enjoyable. It's great.
Let's see here. Joe, you had us
I
watch.
think I like movies wise. I think first of all, like I'm no fucking cinema historian.
you are.
or-
You're
or,
wearing
like,
a badge.
Yeah, okay, so I'm a cinema historian, but like not a pretentious jerky one.
Right. Right.
You're not like
I
us.
think I'm like the Homer Simpson, like the episode where he was a food critic, where he just fucking loved everything.
Yeah.
Like, just my worst rating yet, 7 thumbs up.
I love how
I think that's how I am with
Worst rating
movies,
yet.
which makes it really hard for me to create like top 5 lists and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I just love all movies.
Well, that's a good
except
thing.
a
I
lot
guess.
of them.
That's a good thing.
Well,
I
it's
guess.
and going on that same line, Joe. You're absolutely right. Like I think you said earlier, not to be pretentious, but you have like a top 50 list, and to parse that down to 5, which we're going to discuss later. And I completely agree.
Too much,
I
yeah.
have like a top 20, but that is always changing. Like it's always moving.
Yes,
Depending on
yeah.
the month, the week, what underwear I'm wearing.
Some
Yeah,
movies get
I-
relegated to the
definite-
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I was thinking about this on the way here, and I'm like, that's especially true, I think, for comedies, as far as how they
Yes.
can pop around in your favorites list.
So
or-
true.
So tough.
Because on the way here, I was trying to decide between 3 comedies for the top 5 list.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I got to go with today, right now. And I made my choice, which I won't give away just this
Okay, so let's get back on
Not
track.
yet.
Yeah.
So Joe had us watch, and I didn't have to watch because I just seen it pretty recently. And
I've
it's
seen
the
it like 6 times.
2016 version of Ghostbusters, aka the female version.
Yes, which makes me angry and happy at the same time.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So my, unfortunately for me, it didn't stick with me as the original 2 did.
Well, yeah. I mean, it wasn't meant to. And if you went into the theater thinking that it was going to, then that's on you.
Right.
That's
and
your
that's
fault.
unfortunate just because we were all 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range when we first saw those first Ghostbusters.
I think Ghostbusters came out in '84, so
you were negative.
Negative
Yeah,
2.5.
But still, we're all very young and impressionable when we saw those. So,
Absolutely.
of course, they're going to be just so important to us. And
They
then we
shouldn't
come
have been
back as
PG.
adults to watch an updated version. Like, let's just say they were men in this version, like they originally had planned on, correct?
Well, for years there were a lot of scripts that were written and rewritten and moved and shuffled and shaked. That there was a group of people that actually thought Ghostbusters 3 had already come out like years ago, and like I actually had an argument with a person. They're like, "There's 3 Ghostbusters." I was like, "What the fuck planet do you live on?"
I'm trying to make a point, and I'm going to get lost here.
Okay.
When I ask you a simple question, I want a simple answer. Is that understood?
Not a critical mass, man. There's
Okay,
nothing simple
so-
about what we do. What was your
what was I
question?
saying?
Because I blacked out.
We were young. when we saw
It's
him.
not fair that people were saying, "Oh, this isn't as good because there's females in it,"
Which is
I-
fucking stupid.
I think the problem is that simply that no, it's just nothing ever is going to live up to the originals.
Correct.
That's it.
I kind
Correct.
of I had a conversation along based on this. Well, it wasn't really a conversation so much as Facebook stuff.
yeah.
Well, Russ was he posted the
That
It
bastard.
trailer. Yeah, that.
Does anyone like him?
No, I hate him.
Okay, keep going.
I thought I unfriended him already. I think he just creates new Facebook accounts.
Is he
constantly.
engaged?
Yeah, he is.
He got engaged.
Finally.
Engaged.
Continue, Joe.
I thought they were already.
Yeah,
Doesn't
God.
really matter. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So he posted the It trailer, the new It, of course, and asked me what I thought of it. And my first thought was like, well, I saw the movie It when I was a kid, but it didn't resonate with me. I didn't grow up loving that movie, and it didn't really scare the hell out of me as a kid the way it did with other people. So not being a huge fan of the original, I didn't feel that sort of immediate innate sense of indignation that a lot
Good
of
point.
big fans feel when
Right.
their movie is remade.
It's
which
like
is
when your
understandable.
dad leaves and then your mom starts dating someone new. No matter how hard he tries, he ain't your real dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, and will never live up to that. And you have
Right.
to make sure you remind him of that, like
Yes.
literally every single day.
Yeah.
Right.
And make his life as miserable as possible.
Right.
But
But
I
you
don't
would
do that with the movies.
It's a lot
Right.
like the new Star Trek. In many ways, it's superior, but will never be as good as the original.
I don't know. I hate Star
you're
Trek.
quoting, you're quoting right now. Right?
Yeah. Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
All right.
Anyways.
No, but going back to Ghostbusters and on your point of the women,
Yeah.
and your point of not, it's never going to be the original.
Yeah.
Is first of all, I read all the reviews. And let me tell you something. There are some fucking terrible people that exist on the internet. Like literally people that should be shot and killed.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think they're all pretty reasonable, pretty good people.
Yeah, pretty
Sorry, go
fair
ahead.
people.
For people's their review of Ghostbusters 2016 was they're women and women aren't funny. What that tells me is you don't know anything about movies, and if you own a gun, you should put it in your mouth and pull the trigger. That's just how I feel.
How do you look at Melissa McCarthy and not laugh?
I know, she's hysterical. They got four of the funny, far as I'm concerned, they got four of the funniest women in show business right now.
I would have to agree.
They did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, God damn it.
The girl
Leslie
from
Jones.
SNL.
Leslie
the black
Jones,
girlfriend and the white girl from
Leslie
SNL.
Jones. She
Yeah.
has a name.
Kate McKinnon.
And
Kate
Kate
Mc-
McKinnon.
yes.
Kate
Thank you, Joe.
McKinnon.
She
I'm
was.
sorry.
I think she was my favorite one.
Yes,
possibly.
mine
Yes,
too. Mine too.
agreed.
She is fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
I don't care what she's in, what she's doing, any sketch in SNL. She makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's cool too is she has the ability to be fucking stunningly beautiful too. Like she can be grotesquely strange and make you very uncomfortable.
Like the weirdo
yeah,
character. Yeah.
she does that so well. And then boom, you look at another picture of her and you're like, damn, woman, goddamn. And
He's touching himself right
I'm
now.
not yet, but I was so angry at the backlash because I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then the shit that Leslie Jones got because
yeah.
she's a black woman. Wait a minute, I've never heard of this before. A black woman in a movie? That's so weird. A black woman in a comedy. Oh my god, this is new and uncharted territory.
Yeah.
First of all, Leslie Jones is funny. She fit her part perfectly.
Yeah.
She was a subway worker who knew the city really well.
when she jumped
funny.
off the stage at the to crowd surf and no one caught her.
I mean,
that's it for me.
Oh my god, I was dying, dude. She's talented.
Oh, now I'm mad.
Like she has a talent.
I think you'd be really hard pressed to say that she didn't contribute way more comedically than Ernie Hudson did, because she did. I mean, she was.
Oh yeah, yes,
you know
I
what I mean?
agree.
Yeah, she
So,
did. You're right. Well, that's
great.
another, I think, major difference was that the originals, most of those characters were the straight man, and you had Bill Murray really doing the comedic parts.
Oh yeah,
but his sense of humor was really weird and strange.
Very dry, very dark.
Right.
Some of his funniest moments were. Like for instance, when he goes into Sigourney Weaver's apartment and he lifts up the piano thing and
They
hate that. They hate that. I was dying laughing, and that's all it was.
Yeah.
But it's Bill Murray.
Yeah.
I still like all the time reference the part where he's like, they're in the hotel, come in, Ray, just his delivery and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bankman, I saw it. It's right here, Ray. It's looking at me.
Or when
Yeah.
she's when she's Zool, there is no Dana, only Zool. My, what a wonderful singing voice you have. It's like little things like
Right.
that.
I think
Oh, Zooly, you nut.
that's why I think Kate McKinnon did the best, because I think her comedic delivery. I mean, I'm not going to say she's as funny as Bill Murray. That's ridiculous. But I mean, I think she came closest to filling that Bill Murray void.
Yeah.
And of course, he did have his cameo. But
Yeah.
And the cameos, I think, were great. I like that they got Harold Ramis right out front, got him done and over with, because I was very concerned about how they were going to do Harold Ramis. I think they did it tastefully. I think they did it well.
Wait, remind me, how did they do that?
He
was
had
a
a
bust.
bust of his head, and it said
that's
Professor
right.
Egon Spengler.
Outside in the hallway.
Correct,
of,
right at the beginning
offices.
of the movie.
Yeah.
I was happy about it
Yeah.
because when he passed away, I mean, Egon died. You know, like Harold Ramis, let's talk about Harold Ramis's fucking career. Let's talk about his resume. Caddyshack, Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
He didn't have much of a career.
No.
no,
But-
it's kind of. I mean, Ghostbusters, and then what? I mean,
Yeah.
kind of a.
Honey, I Shrunk Something. No, I'm sorry. I started thinking about here.
You're useless.
Rick Moranis.
Okay, so we're definitely not talking about Rick Moranis.
But did Rick
They're actually
Moranis
two
have a
different guys.
cameo in the?
no, he was the only one, because Sigourney Weaver came in at the end and did her cameo.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Come on, Rick. Where have you been?
He left movie. He made his nut. He made
Yeah.
his money, and then
Yeah.
he said, "I want to raise a family," and then left movies.
So you can't go
What
to
a
LA for a
selfish
month.
asshole.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because Mel Brooks, God, what is he? 112 at this point, Mel Brooks.
Don't
Yeah.
exaggerate. It's 1-9.
Oh, okay, 109. I'm sorry. He wants to do Spaceballs 2, but has
Yeah,
made
I
it
heard
very
that.
clear, I will not do Spaceballs 2 without Rick Moranis. So until Rick Moranis comes out of hiding,
Yeah.
then we're not doing it. And for me, it's like, Rick, buddy, pal, okay? Do it. Do the fucking movie. Let me watch it and enjoy let me relish. Let me have some member berries. Member Spaceballs?
Stop. So
Fuck you. Tell me to stop again. Watch what happens.
it's definitely one of those movies that you should have on your shelf when you're sick. It's a rainy day and you just want a nice little pick me up.
Which?
The 2016 version
Yeah.
of Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I would
You know,
happily watch that again.
It's fun. I didn't necessarily like the hunky guy character, their secretary.
Chris Hemsworth. I thought he was funny as fuck.
I didn't care.
I'm
for
not
that
saying
either.
that he wasn't funny. What I mean is, like, I don't know. I just felt like
His little one-liners. Did you know an aquarium is actually a submarine for fish?
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what I didn't like about it.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Please,
just
can you explore that for a second?
it's just personal taste. I just didn't find it funny, and I thought they spent too much time with that too.
on his character,
With the
him being dumb.
yeah, and just like
And he was dumb.
with the cast they had, I'm like, I get it. He's really dumb, but
Yeah.
he's attractive, and it's like, I want more of these four characters.
Okay,
'cause
so
they're
the
really funny.
feminists out there are saying, well, hold on. why can't a movie with all these female leads have a dumb, hunky guy in it? Like every other fucking movie out there has some hot broad who's a dumbass in it.
Yeah, and that's not the problem I had with it.
So that's what they're saying, and I agree. That's fair. You deserve that.
The problem I have is
but his character could have been a little bit more dimensional.
The feminist movement, the fucking masculine movement, or the fuck you want to call them, all these movements. It's a Ghostbusters movie. It is a fucking ghost. It's not a political statement. It's meant to make you laugh about 4 women that are fighting ghosts in New York City. Okay? Where did the feminists come from with this? Well, this is a women.
I'm just saying, hypothetically, that's the argument.
It was a funny movie.
There. Yeah.
Whether or not they were women or men.
For me, I just felt like
enjoyed it.
Chris's character could have had a little bit more depth than him just being a complete fucking moron. And that's the only reason why they kept him around, because they thought he was beautiful.
I agree. I thought that the exchanges with Kristen Wiig were pretty funny.
I felt like everything else in that movie was comedically above all that. It just
that's fair.
I'm like,
that's
come
fair.
on.
Well, I kept wanting him to be
jokes.
an alien or a ghost of some kind, because when he was first introduced, he didn't understand how a phone worked. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
So I kept trying to. He's like, see, something's wrong with him. We're gonna find out later in the movie that he's a ghost or he's an alien. He's possessed.
He
of some
ends up
kind.
getting possessed
And
later.
the joke there being that
no, it's just he's just a dumbass.
yeah, and
Like what? Come on.
I think if we were younger, maybe we would have caught on. Like that would have been
Less of an issue.
Yeah, because for us, it's like, it's a fucking phone. Like, I get it, he's dumb. For younger people, it might be like, haha, yeah, phones are tough because
the
that's a weird-looking phone.
The secretary in the original Ghostbusters, I don't know her name.
Yeah, Janine Melnitz.
Her character, again,
Annie Potts.
didn't need to be multidimensional.
Wow. Yeah.
But her attitude of that very dry attitude of like, I don't have time for your bullshit today.
We got one!
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, what do you want? Yeah, she even
what
had
do
a
you
cameo.
want? Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that's, I don't know. That's really was my only beef with it, to be honest with you. I really did like it.
When they first introduced Chris Hemsworth, and Kristen Wiig was kind of like gaga over him.
Yeah.
I liked it at first because to me it felt like the equivalent of Venkman being all about Sigourney Weaver, and like you know what I mean. I was like, okay, that's kind of if you're a Ghostbuster fan, you read really deep into it. That's kind of fun. And like, oh no, we should take this guy,
Yeah.
Like
Good
Venkman
point.
with like, we should take her out to dinner. We don't want to lose her.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I got at first, and then eventually with the dumb jokes, I was like, they're all, everybody else in the movie is funnier than this. Please don't waste the screen time.
Right.
Yeah.
Good call.
I got you.
So there's no other thing to discuss, is there?
Well, so we touched Raiders. We touched Star Wars. We're gonna probably.
We're gonna get touched by something else.
I don't want to. I didn't really want to go hugely into Star Wars, because I'm sure obviously we're gonna talk about it later. So I don't want it to like be. I guess if we could loop back, Dan, quick words.
Sure.
Succinctly, you saw episode 4, the original.
Yeah.
I asked you to watch it.
Yes.
Give me What do you think? It was a low-budget film that came out in 1977. It exploded and created what is a pop culture icon at this point. Why do you feel that way? Do you agree with it? And give me what's a succinct kind of feeling on that?
I couldn't tell you why it exploded or why it became so popular. I'm still sort of questioning why that is. I think there's so many other movies out there that could have done that, but for some reason Star Wars did. And if I had to guess, just pure speculation, I would assume that it's the storyline about a boy who didn't know anything about his family, didn't really know who his father was, and was just at that age where he had that itch.
He was
to get
19,
out.
just to give you some.
Yeah, he had that itch to get out. He didn't want to be a farmer anymore. All his friends had already left him. He was like, you know what? It's time for me to sow some wild oats.
Well, you do realize what he was trying to do, which kind of changes kind of the backdrop of the film. He kept saying he wanted to go to the academy, flight academy.
Yes.
That was the Imperial Flight Academy. He wanted to be an Imperial pilot for the current regime, the military.
Right. But I don't think he understood how bad it was.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So, for me, I just think... For me... That's what Bill Burr says. For me, I just think that in the late 70s, what was going on? Iran, Contra situation.
Great Depression.
Great Depression was definitely still happening.
Spanish-American War.
Yep. All that stuff was going on. I just think maybe the culture at that time was like, you know what? We want to see a story where a young man finds his own, just gets out there, and I think by the second time, when they realized that there's an issue with his father not being around and him wanting to find out who his father was, I don't know. I think a lot of people, even to this day, can relate to not knowing who their dad was or having a sordid, if you will, relationship.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I mean, they asked. I mean, the question to George Lucas was why? You know, why
with the dad stuff?
No, with Star Wars.
Oh, why
as a whole?
Okay.
Like why? And George Lucas said, "I wanted to make a movie that I wanted to see, and I wanted to see a samurai western set in space." And we got Star Wars, which is, in essence, samurai is the Jedi.
Yeah.
The Western, you've got the swashbuckling Han Solo, and the backdrop is space.
And the sort of frontierism of space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's Star Wars is a space Western samurai movie.
Yeah.
And
kind
that's
of
what,
go anywhere, do anything.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
Dan, thank you. That's, I mean, I wanted to kind of keep that succinct. Thank
Okay,
you, because we're going to talk about Star Wars. Joe, Episode 4, Star Wars, 1977. Do you feel like the respect it's given? Do you feel it's deserved? Do you feel like it's overblown? What are your thoughts on it? No wrong answers.
Did you want me to watch that one? I don't know. I had kind of a fun perspective on that because I had never seen Star Wars in my life. I'm 30.
Wow.
And
my stomach hurts.
Yeah, so it's impossible for me to really contextualize what that movie meant and how it hit people at the time, because that's how it became a big hit, right? Is everything going on at the time. Really, all I could give would be my first thoughts when watching the movie, which was I was thinking a couple of things that kind of not off topic, but as I was watching it, a couple of things I noticed was like, one was, wow, these characters are constantly fucking bickering. Like, I don't know if it just seemed
Which
that,
one specifically? Like,
all of them.
Give me an example.
From like
between R2D2 and
C-3PO right away, and then Han Solo and
even
Luke.
with his best friend Chewie are always bickering.
And I mean, these are characters who barely know each other, and they're fucking bickering the whole time, and it almost became
like an old married
annoying.
couple.
Yeah.
No,
but it was fun though. And another thing was, like, as the movie goes on, obviously, you know, you're meeting all these new aliens and creatures and stuff. And what's unique about it is because, I mean, these pretty much anything your imagination can dream up is what you're seeing right now. And it's like every character you see, you wonder, well, like, not only like, what the fuck is that? But you're wondering, you know, about its origin, the planet it came from, how do these things interact with each other?
It's easy to write something that there's no historical fact or scientific basis to it.
It's easy to do, but the thing is that it's kind of what makes it encapsulating, I think. And
that's a good point.
And because it, you know, it's an intergalactic story, it also, like, the story is so expansive. And it has like this like cumulative feel or momentum through it as you go throughout the movie. It's like it can only it's like this linear progression. It can only get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Whereas other movies and other stories are very much like self-contained. Yeah. And with this, it's just like you start out at point A and you just keep going, and the universe just keeps widening, and you meet new characters, and it's just. by the end of the movie, you have no choice but to want more, because you like, I need closure on that anecdote.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
there's
wow.
just, you've been introduced to so much more open-ended things than you have received closure on. You know,
that was, I mean, honestly, I need to say this. That was probably the best explanation from a non-Star Wars fan like me that I've probably ever heard in my life. And
I know.
absolutely,
it was Jerry Springer's final thought on Friday's show.
No, I mean, that was, I mean, Joe, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you, for instance, if you go in, if you take a look at the scene of the Mos Eisley Cantina in the beginning of the movie where Obi-Wan and Luke are looking for safe passage to Alderaan, and they find Han Solo and Chewie. In what's called Star Wars Expanded Universe, which has now been rebranded by Disney to Star Wars Legends. I don't really want to get into that right now. Moving forward.
Thank God.
Every single one of those characters you see in the cantina, they have a backstory. They have, like, they all have a name. They all have a backstory. They all have, like, a written, like, you can look it up and find that. You go to Wikipedia.com. I'm not even kidding. Like, and that's written, and it's considered part of the canon or the lore. And it's insanity how deep Star Wars goes. It is a living, breathing, and it's still moving. The timeline is still moving. Dan fell asleep. Dan fell asleep again.
Oh.
Dan? Yeah. So
how much time has passed?
Anyway,
7.5 hours.
So anyway, Joe, thank you. I mean, you put that perfectly. But if we, I think it's time for a break.
Before we go, two things. I do want to mention about the Star Whizzles. Well, you made me watch it, so I'm going to give you some things on it.
Go ahead.
So much was going on that I have to assume that, I don't know, as far as editing is concerned, the transitions. Joe, did you notice those?
A little cheesy.
Not only cheesy, but the timing of them. They'd like just, you know.
And Star Wipe.
Yeah,
it should have been called Star Wipe.
It'd be like, all right. They'd be like, all right, so let's go over here. It's like, give it a second. Let the character turn around and take a breath, then cut. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, we have to go to Alderaan to do this. Okay.
Well, maybe that was part of that whole nonstop momentum there that they were trying to build, where it's just like,
I gotta be honest. Like my theory is that they did it because there was just so much movie. They didn't have the extra few seconds. They had to. We got to squeeze this in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Secondly, I want to ask you, Rocness, how long for the trilogy? Okay, the original trilogy, episode 4, 5, 6. What's the timeline there? Was that a week?
Okay, so, excuse me. The time between episode 4 and episode 5.
Right,
so
from start to finish. Empire. Did this all take place in a month?
Well, so in between, it's difficult to map the timeline within the movie. There is set, so for instance, between episode 4 and 5 is 3 years. So it's been, or as they call it in Star Wars, cycles, because they don't have years. So between...
That long?
Yes. So after the first Death Star is destroyed, up until they're on the planet Hoth.
That's right, because they have the base there at Hoth.
Correct.
And they've been, oh my God, so they must have been there a long time.
3 years, correct.
Wow.
So then we look at the time between Empire and Jedi.
Yeah.
And you're looking at 3 to 6 months.
Right, very small.
Because Han's frozen in the carbonite.
Didn't Luke's uncle use the word years?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
And also about Luke's uncle, that just reminded me, another thing I was thinking as I watched the movie was like, okay, why is Luke more upset at Obi-Wan's death than his fucking uncle? And
that's another editing thing I had a problem with. He's staring at his dead, burned family for 2 seconds.
Yeah, and of course
they're done. Move on.
They're basically
that's a
his
huge
parents.
Emotional nugget. You need to explore that. You need to bring that to light more. You need to see the character go through the grieving process.
Yeah, but
no, he's just like, oh, they're dead, gone.
Yeah, instead they just write in there in the script like, okay, now I want to fight. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, wink, wink, writers. Good
Yeah,
job.
I mean, there's a couple things you can kind of
Worst movie ever.
Okay, so there's just a couple things you can glean from that.
You're
Number
like
one,
Star Wars.
you're such a dick.
I'm just not kidding.
Luke and his aunt and uncle. I mean, yeah, he was close to them. They raised him, but he was always at odds with his uncle. They were always arguing, and Luke had always felt like he was worth more. He had more going on. Number one, more inside of him. More, his uncle kept telling him he needed to stay here, and he started to build a resentment for his uncle. Did he hate him? No. Could they have explored that a little more? Absolutely.
And the Star Wars story and everything, is that his actual biological uncle?
His kind of like half uncle.
Okay.
And then moving forward, Obi-Wan Kenobi trained Anakin Skywalker, who thusly became Darth Vader.
Right.
In essence, Obi-Wan is more family to Luke than
his uncle.
Than his uncle was. I mean, Obi-Wan knew, fought alongside in the Clone Wars, his father. So for him he thought this was the biggest link I have to my dad. This is like this guy could tell me everything about my dad, and now I'm going to train to be a Jedi Knight like my father was. Fuck, he's dead. Like, you know what I mean? And that's I guess that's where I explain it. Could they have explored that far more? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Oh, also, a couple episodes ago, we talked about the Arab Spring, and I mentioned Tunisia.
Correct, which the set for episode 4 still in Tunisia, and you can go.
Yeah.
In fact, Gareth Edwards, who directed Star Wars Rogue One, the newest one, for his 30th birthday, his wife took him to Tunisia.
Cool.
Just as being a fan.
Yeah.
To go there and see the place, and he was talking about how like his wife did that for him just to like see Tunisia, to see the original set, which is all there. And little did he know, years later, he would be asked to actually direct a Star Wars film.
That's cool.
So,
yeah, the scene when, that whole so Tunisia is Luke's home planet.
Well, Tatooine.
Tatooine.
The twin sons of Tatooine.
Right, and so in that scene when he's sitting there looking at the two setting suns, that's definitely Tunisia. Right?
Correct. That's all. Tatooine.
Yeah.
All of Tatooine is filmed in Tunisia.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I was like, because I saw the credits going up, I'm like, blah, 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 filmed in Tunisia. I was like, why don't we just fucking talk about that?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to make a Star Wars quip, actually, when you brought up Tunisia, and then I realized I did the whole time and place.
Okay.
Time and place. Anyway.
So do we take a break here or
let's
what?
Go
What do you
ahead and
think?
take a break.
Right.
Everyone's got to urinate, but we're going to go ahead and take a break here, and we'll be right back. Winters suck, especially here in upstate New York. They're cold, wet, dreary, and the salt from the roads gets everywhere. Luckily, for our concrete surfaces, we have Eagle Epoxy. They'll come in, they'll resurface your garage, or your basement floor even. They cover it with an epoxy resin after it's been resurfaced, for protection, a clean look, and it's really, really easy to clean, especially for you car guys. They can be reached at their website, eagleepoxy.us, or by phone at 585-402-4971 for a free quote. Tell them the Rocness Monster sent you.
Okay, folks, welcome back to Critical Mass. We're here with Rocness and Joe.
Yo, yo, yo!
We've been talking way too much Star Wars, but we are talking movies today. And
Can't have a movie conversation without Star Wars.
I did just get something, an email here. It's an ad for the show.
Oh, please. Please, continue.
It's a quick copy. I'll read it really, really quickly. I don't know why we're getting this sent to us. I hope it's not fake. I feel like we've been getting a string of fake ones. What do you think?
I think every single one of, I've met the guys at Eagle Epoxy.
Okay, so we know they're real.
I know they're real.
Okay. But this one is weird because, first of all, we've said a lot of bad things about Fox News, but this is from them.
Oh.
Critical Mass, brought to you by Fox News, where men can be men And if a woman complains about sexual assault or harassment, you'll end up with more money than them. Fox News, moving backwards.
Oh, man. Bill O'Reilly got fired, and it was like, typically when I go on the internet looking for
He
porn,
got $25 million out of that settlement. He leaves Fox News with $25 million more than the people accusing him of the sexual assault.
I mean...
But let's move on.
Yeah,
okay,
let's move
so
on.
movies...
No politics today. Let's move on.
Yeah. Movies.
So we were tasked, the three of us were tasked. We tasked each other. We tasked the world to top 5 movies of all time. So each of us made a list. What I'd like to start is I think all of us have a short honorable mention list that I don't really want to talk about.
Short?
I have 5 honorable mentions. And I don't want to talk about them unless they're on your top 5 list. If they make your top 5 list, then yes, I want to talk about them. But I'm going to run through my honorable mention. Joe, do you have an honorable mention?
Yeah.
And then Dan, do you have an honorable mention?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, so again, we're not going to go through and explain these unless they're on your top 5.
Yeah.
Then we're going to talk about them. These are not on my top 5, so I'm going to go through my honorable mention movies. The Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
The Indiana Jones series.
Yeah.
The Ghostbusters series.
Yeah.
And La Vita è Bella, which is an Italian foreign film and probably one of the...
With the little short guy?
With Roberto Benigni.
Yeah. Like 5 years ago,
It was longer than that.
Longer than that?
Shit, it was a kid. He and his son go to a concentration camp because they're Italian Jews.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want his son to see the ugliness of the world. So he tells his son they're at a summer camp. Let's go ahead. So, Joe, your honorable mention?
Softer.
Actually, Saving Private Ryan was also on my list, but it was
Honorable mention or?
Yeah,
Okay.
honorable mention. And I think it was only on my honorable mention list because out of the difficulty of putting together a top 5 is, at least for me, I don't know about you guys, but I started to wander from my top 5 favorite movies, which is difficult enough in itself, but trying to put together movies that, you think are good enough universally or objectively.
Agreed. Yeah, I know what you're
so
saying.
you start looking at it from an objective point of view.
Completely
So
get
I
it.
put Saving Private Ryan on there, but I think that's kind of why. But like Braveheart, True Romance, Stand By Me, Lethal Weapon,
Nice.
The Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fantastic honorable mention list.
the good, bad, and the ugly.
Oh, wow.
Which briefly almost had a shot at my number 1, and now it's not even on the list. But that's how flaky I am.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow, that's actually I love your list, Joe. Thank you, Dan.
Well, some honorable mentions, ones that I really wanted to mention, but just have to do it here. Ace Ventura 1 and 2.
Fair, very fair.
Yeah.
Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Wayne's World, Donnie Darko, Forrest Gump,
Yes.
Jurassic Park. Remember that movie?
Yes.
Try being 10 years old when that movie comes out.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I was younger than that, but I remember.
I don't think people can really try
Toy
that.
Story. Yeah, I'll say it. I said Toy Story.
No, I'm happy with it. Beautiful movie.
And just because of the nostalgia, Home Alone 1
Yes,
and 2.
yeah.
I remember just being like so enamored with being a little asshole and getting away with it because I was a white kid.
Yep. Well, if you're
Imagine if Home Alone happened to a black kid.
Oh my God! There were
Different
police.
outcome. Different outcome.
Oh yeah, the 2 thieves were white, so the cops would just show up and shoot the black boy.
Yeah.
Even though the white guys were robbing the house, purely because he's black. No politics. We said no politics.
Yeah. So those are my kind of outside honorable mentions.
I love it. So I guess, gentlemen, are we ready to kick this off?
Yeah.
Dan, are we ready?
I don't know what the hell's so fucking funny.
And I was
All right, so we'll start with number 5. We'll go round robin here.
Start number 5.
I'll just say it. My
And
number 5.
Wait. You not only have to say your number 5,
Okay.
but you're gonna have to talk about it.
We have to take an item of
Just-
clothing off.
Yes, and then justify your reasoning. Go.
The Back to the Future series. Boom.
Go.
I mean, it's magical. It's fun.
now sorry, just the whole series as opposed to just
Yeah, I mean,
It's on my list too, actually. Not at 5 though.
Rocness, you said the other day that you watched Star Wars episode 4, 5, 6
Yeah.
in one night.
I watched episode 4 in one night, and then 5 and 6 in one night.
Yeah, to me is what I could do with Back to the Future because it's just so fun. I love the characters. I love the adventurism. Everything about it. It's just so cool. And he makes it seem like
good old
time
Zemeckis.
travel is the most plausible version of time travel. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this guy's a really smart guy, and there's this vehicle, and you got to get it to this mile an hour, and you got to add shit here and do this here, and even then, it's not perfect.
No.
You know, so I don't know. I like that. Say something bad about Back to the Future. Say it. Say it. I dare you.
They changed. It was Jennifer, her character.
All right, fuck you.
That was it.
That's it.
Literally it.
Yeah.
That's the actress changed, and that threw me off a little bit. I was talking to my brother about it actually.
Yeah.
He brought that up, and I agreed. And I agree, as that is the only possible downfall of those movies, if you would even call that a downfall. I don't even know if I would.
Yeah. Again, a lot of these that I'm going to be mentioning hark back to my childhood.
As they should.
And I definitely remember seeing at least 2 out of the 3 in the theater. Definitely saw the third one in the theater. So,
right on.
It's just so cool, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, it's on my list. I'm not going to tell you where yet, but it's on there. So, I'm going to go next.
Okay.
Number 5, The Dark Knight.
I considered that.
The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Number 1, which I shouldn't even have to say, was Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. It won him an Oscar.
Okay, so out of the recent Batman movies, the one with Christian Bale, he did 3 of them.
Correct.
And this would be the second one that Christian Bale did.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, Heath Ledger's performance was unnerving, was terrifying, was amazing.
He crushed it.
Michael Caine, who played Alfred, could not be on the set while Heath Ledger was.
I can't even look at you right now.
Yeah, like exactly. Unless they were doing a scene together. He had he had stopped being Heath Ledger and he had become the Joker. His makeup, all of his makeup, he refused to let anyone do. He did it himself. He wanted that.
I didn't know that.
The scene in the interrogation room where he gets beat the fuck out of by Christian Bale.
Yeah.
He told Bale, I don't want you to hold back. He was literally getting beaten up by Christian Bale.
Wow.
Honestly, it's my number 5 because that movie changed the way I look at superhero movies. That was not really a superhero film. That was a drama. It was set on the backdrop of Batman. Batman, in my mind, the story of Batman was the backdrop of this drama.
It was clearly the darkest.
It was dark. It was brooding. It took my breath away in certain points, in certain moments. And the Joker was masterful. He was insane. He was truly insane. And Heath Ledger's performance in that was a nonstop ride. And so much of that was ad-libbed. So much of that was out of his brain. The licking of the lips, the little limp. He created these things. The scene where he's trying to blow the hospital up, and he's like hitting the thing. Yeah. That was all. He made that up. The explosions didn't go off as they were supposed to. They just kept it in the movie because it was great. Because he was just like hitting it, and then finally went off, and he was like, oh, and. Yeah. That was all there. The rest of the cast was genuinely afraid of him.
Oh, yeah.
They were terrified of him. They didn't know what it was he was going to do next or say next.
Yeah.
The stories that he would say about how he got the scars just started talking.
So what you're saying is...
I didn't know all that.
Heath Ledger made that movie and made that movie a number 5 for you. Like, that's the reason why it's on that list.
his performance in the Joker blew
Yeah.
me away, and this
Yeah.
is coming from a person. I followed Batman. I've read his comics. I've watched every single movie. Batman the Animated Series cartoon show is one of my favorite things Batman has ever.
And it's not like Jack Nicholson was a slouch as Joker either.
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
he
but-
played a
Don't sell
great
yourself
Joker.
short. You're a tremendous slouch.
Yeah,
He played a fantastic Joker. In fact, apparently he called Heath Ledger to tell him not to take the part, and he said why, and he goes because it caused my cocaine problems. Like Jack Nicholson, I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Yeah.
But and Mr. Ledger, he read The Killing Joke. If you have not read The Killing Joke or have seen the new cartoon adaptation, which is an R-rated cartoon Batman movie, recently out, I suggest taking a gander at that. It is, it's the darkest, most vulgar, scariest Joker realization on paper, which is called The Killing Joke, and Heath Ledger based the entire character on that book, that graphic novel.
Oh.
Do you think Heath Ledger's the reason that Jared Leto, had all those antics shooting Suicide Squad? Do you think he was trying to be the Joker that Heath Ledger was? Because I heard all kinds of crazy stories about Jared Leto being the Joker and shit that he did on set.
Yeah. First and foremost, I think Jared Leto is a very talented actor.
Me too.
Unfortunately, he did not display any of those talents as the Joker.
Right. I didn't see Suicide Squad. I did record it over the weekend, so I will be soon.
It's an all right movie. It's okay. DC really hasn't been able to do anything at the level of Marvel, except for the Batman series, the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, which to me are better than any of the Marvel movies, but that's it.
Okay.
That's all they've been able to do. And Suicide Squad was not a good movie. Jared Leto as the Joker was not good.
I see.
But Heath Ledger, really took it and ran with it and made it what it was. It was psychotic.
But when you said that before about him being totally insane, it immediately I thought of when somebody said something like that in the movie, one of the characters, and he's like, "No, I'm not," and they're like, "Yeah, you are." He's like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah,
and that was a great moment for him because you can tell. First of all, you get the impression, like I might be just getting a little dramatic about it, but you get the impression that he's been hearing that his whole life. And he's, probably heard that more than once, but also that he does believe it. He believes he's not insane.
Exactly. He believes he's more evolved.
It was just one of those, just a line that was delivered so subtly, but there was, so much more was said and just the way he delivered it. Than just the line. It was
Absolutely.
a great moment.
Absolutely. The Killing Joke describes one Joker turning Batgirl into a paraplegic, which was just vile. And when asked about it, the Joker's response is, "Don't get mad at me. I was aiming for her head." And for Heath Ledger to take that role, that character, and make it what it was, for me, I went into the theater as a person who watched movies as a Batman fan.
Yeah.
I left the theater a different person in terms of my fandom for Batman, in terms of my fandom for superhero movies, in terms of the way I looked at superhero films, in terms of the way I looked at dramas. I left that film different. And you're going to notice a lot of my top 5 is movies that I went in and I left different.
Okay.
So that's my 5. That's my number 5.
Okay, well, setting the stage here. Joe.
How do you pronounce it? Jow?
Pan?
Don't even. It's like disrespectful.
Pan.
Jow.
There's a
That's
D.
disrespectful.
Jow. Is that
Just
what
let
the
him.
G?
Let him
it's like
pronounce
The
it
palm.
G silent.
in
I
your
got
own
it.
language. You say it.
How do you pronounce your name?
You don't have to say my name if you don't want.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna call you.
Yeah,
Jill.
my number 5. I was trying to decide between 3 movies: Office Space, Cable Guy, and Dumb and Dumber. And I was on my way here, and like we were talking about a little while ago, it was one of those one of those situations where on a different given day, I may have made a different choice, but
Sure,
and I was just going crazy trying to, you know, justify my choice and stuff. And I was thinking, you know what? Cable Guy. It's just out of the three, it's been the longest since I've seen that one. So out of the three, I would happily watch that movie today. Also, I think one of the reasons that movie is so great for me is because, or I think it's so great, is because, I mean, it's so, to say it's like, to say that it's overlooked is a huge understatement. You know, it was received terribly.
100% agree there.
Yeah. Especially back in the 90s. I mean, Cable Guy was not just a flop, but it was made fun of in other comedic arenas. I mean, wow. I can recall like Third Rock from the Sun, The Simpsons taking jabs at the Cable Guy, and The Simpsons, that surprised me because you would think like writers of 90s Simpsons episodes would appreciate a movie like The Cable Guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, oh, there's that horrible script from The Cable Guy. Nearly ruined Jim Carrey's career. But yeah, so it just...
It was
and it also showed that Jim Carrey could be funny in a different way than just making rubbery facial expressions.
Right.
You know.
True.
So it's a dark comedy. It's got that dark humor, which I appreciate very much, and it's awkward too. I feel like The Cable Guy kind of was one of the first super funny movies that did awkward humor, because there's plenty of it in the movie.
Agreed.
And Broderick did a great job of making it awkward.
Awkward humor became such a staple of bigger comedies after that, like Anchorman, and pretty much every Will Ferrell comedy. That's part of his humor, is creating awkward situations.
The awkward tension,
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, it's, you know, you can't go wrong.
Should I laugh moments? Should I be laughing at this? And then laughing at the fact that you're having that moment.
Him in the van, like, you really want to know my name? You do? Yeah. Sure. It's Ernie Douglas. But my friends call me Chip, and then his stupid smile.
Right.
Yeah, and also you're just kind of picturing what Ben Stiller thought was funny as the director, and it's just
that's a great point. Actually,
everything, and like, then even the little stuff with the twin brothers that was going on, the killing, like every little nugget of that movie is so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree, Joe. It's so underrated. No one talked about
Very
it back
underrated.
then.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for out of underrated comedies, I think it's the funniest underrated comedy I can think of.
Yeah.
Whereas like Office Space became a cult classic. Dumb and Dumber.
Oh my God.
I don't like this phrase, but I mean it is what it is. It's just, it's
the
so
Farrelly
funny.
Brothers at their best, I think.
Yeah.
Untouchable.
Yeah.
Good.
So
I'm glad you liked it.
And on another day, I could have easily chosen Office Space or Dumb and Dumber or some other movie. But.
Yeah. Wow.
That's 5.
First 5 down.
5 out of the bag. Daniel. Number 4.
You didn't want to take a break here?
No.
Okay, we'll keep going.
Keep going.
I'm sure the listeners do.
My number 4.
They can just stop listening.
The listeners
just hit pause, you fucking bastards.
They turn this off.
Number 4. The Big Lebowski.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Good call.
I mean, if you haven't seen it, you're an idiot, and we're no longer friends.
Well, that's like your opinion, dude.
And if you have seen it and you don't like it, you're probably a terrorist.
Easily.
But if you have seen it and you like it, then you agree with me that it should be in your top 5 too. The writer/director for that, what were these guys? The Coen brothers, right?
The Coen brothers, correct.
These guys, their style of movie that they typically write and produce, it's so unique. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily follow any specific type of genre. I mean, is The Big Lebowski a comedy? No.
Oh, we don't know.
Is it a drama? No.
Is it an expose on the 90s warmongering of the United States?
So many things. It's so many things. Yeah, but a lot of their movies are like that. You can't exactly peg them as okay. It's going to be this.
Like Wes Anderson, except way less hipster.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
I like Wes Anderson.
Actually, fun little fact. I believe that Bill Murray did the Garfield movie because he saw the name Coen and just agreed to do it, and then didn't realize later that it wasn't one of the Coen brothers. It was spelled differently.
That's so sad. Because remember, you ever see Welcome to Zombieland or Zombieland?
I know that he's in it. I've seen his scene.
Yeah. Because he does I didn't see them, but he's in it.
He plays himself.
Yeah.
And he pretends to be a zombie the whole time so he can golf. Because there's no one in front of him, and they think he's a zombie, and they shoot him, and he's dying.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh my God! Before you die, Bill, do you have any regrets?" And he's like, Garfield.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. Anyway, Big Lebowski.
Yeah, the Big Lebowski. So many layers to the movie as well, and to the point where people actually begin to think that it's actually an allegory.
Go into that, please.
Well, some people believe that
Oz.
it's that he's supposed to be Jesus, and there's all these different theories and levels to it. Like, okay, it's really just a big metaphor for all of this and all of that. And
well, I mean, anyone can read into or watch
absolutely,
a movie
but I mean,
get that.
for it to be such a cult classic to the point where people are so obsessed with it that they begin drawing those conclusions on their own. It just tells you that the movie is that in depth that you can do that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
easily.
It's so quotable for one, which is why I really like it. I mean,
Shomer Shabbos.
Everything. I mean, we could spend a whole podcast just quoting The Big Lebowski.
We could completely devote an entire
and
podcast.
I'll just say that. How about we do this? I'll say my favorite quote. You got to pick one. Of the movie, and mine is, "Yeah, man, I got a rash, man." That's it. That's mine. What's yours?
Fuck. There's Joe. Do you have one on deck? Because I mean, that's so hard right now.
Oh, they're gonna kill that poor woman.
Ready? 8-year-olds, dude.
Yeah.
8-year-olds.
Yeah.
That right there.
8-year-olds, man.
Off the top of my head, Shabbos, Donnie, is the Jewish day of rest. Just the way.
It's the way it's condescendingly expressed.
Donnie, it's like you're a child wandering into a movie in the middle of it, just asking questions.
You know the commercial. I forget what it's for, shit, but it's these metal dudes in a band in a van that it won't start. It's kind of a newer commercial. They all have long hair and shit, and the one in the back is like the so-and-so county fair, or the people at the so-and-so county fair are about to get their faces melted, and the van won't start. And the one dude's like, I guess their faces are safe. The driver, they're like, shut up. And the driver's like, I don't need your help. And then he goes to start it again. And the look he gives out of the corner of his eye when he's going to start it reminds me of John Goodman in that movie. Just his, I don't know, his delivery.
Well, it's either a Geico commercial or it's an Aspen Dental commercial. That's my theory.
It's probably Geico.
Okay.
Geico.
It's just, you can't even explain it. There are fraternities that...
where you went for your birthday. The theme of that whole place.
It was just a small bowling alley, and they had lots of different...
the guy told me. I mean, they're...
Lebowski shit.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's just so cool.
Clearly,
You're saying a fraternity, though? What?
There are fraternities that make their pledges do something Big Lebowski related, like either quote an entire scene or, dress up like someone.
As they should.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool movie, and if you don't like it,
actually,
you have really bad taste.
I think, sorry, just because I'm an idiot and I go back and think. I think one of my favorite quotes, maybe more so my favorite scene than my favorite quote, is, "It's Sandra." See?
Sandra.
See?
Just
What do you do, Lebowski?
Yeah.
What do you do, man?
Fuck is this
Oh,
guy,
nothing much.
Man? Nothing much. Cassandra from something. Yeah.
That's one of the scenes where I hope I don't think of that randomly when I'm by myself somewhere in public, because I'll
You're just
have
gonna
to
start
fight
laughing?
not to laugh and look like a fucking weirdo.
Right?
Well, I
Is that guy
don't hold
laughing?
back. If I find something funny, and even if it's in my head, I'm gonna start laughing out loud. I don't care where I am.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Like, I laughed all during Schindler's List. And everyone else was like, this isn't a comedy. And I'm like,
No, I was
don't
thinking about
understand.
something else.
First of all, it's Liam Neeson's. Okay?
Yeah.
So, anyway, and excuse me, I am actually making myself drinks. I got really drunk last night. And so I'm drinking more now because I'm so hungover.
So that was my number 4. Let's move on to Rocness's number 4.
Number 4. My number 4 is Loaded. Ooh. Because I actually picked 2 movies for my number 4. 2.
Can't do that.
Well, are they connected?
No.
Well, then you can't do that. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I can.
No.
Let me explain.
Well,
Let me
okay.
explain. Okay.
You're in the hole right now.
That's fine. I don't give a shit. It's the only thing I've done. The rest of them are all not this.
Continue.
Okay. So the reason I chose these 2 movies as my number 4 is because they made my brain explode and then look at everything in terms of existence completely differently.
You're such an exaggerator.
I'm not. I literally, again, I discussed this with The Dark Knight. You know, I went into that movie and came out different in terms of the way I look at superhero movies.
And what did the Dark Knight think? You said you discussed it with him. Go ahead.
Funny.
Sorry.
So your number 4
My
is...
number 4, these are 2 movies that I went into the theater to see, and when I came out, I actually came out a different fucking person as the way I looked at life all around me and existence. And those 2 movies are The Matrix and Interstellar.
Interstellar.
I didn't see Interstellar yet, but I do plan on it.
Me neither. The only thing I've heard about it
guys,
from somebody
Jesus Christ.
somebody I know who's seen it is what I've heard is it's really loud.
Yes.
So if you have a good surround sound, don't watch it late at night if you're living with other people. That's really the only feedback I've heard.
Well,
so it
that's
must be awesome.
stupid feedback, but it's true feedback.
Bite your tongue.
So
from
I'll start with The Matrix. First of all, The Matrix discussing the fact that we are living in a fantasy world that doesn't actually exist and that it's actually 1,000 years further into the future.
A computer simulation.
And yes, and our bodies are being used as and harvested as batteries, if you will, because of the BTUs of energy that we give off to power the machine world. In order for us to stay quiet and sleeping within our pods, if you will, that they use for battery power.
Yeah.
Our brains are hooked up into a fantasy world of what we currently know.
This is what you sound like. I'm telling you, man, we're just like pods to the machines. Like, we're just like giving off energy to them. And they're like feeding on us, man.
I'm not talking about real life.
Probably was the most compelling documentary I've seen. I'll give you that.
Okay, so it's not a documentary. It's a fictional movie. However, it expanded my mind at a very young age at the time in terms of the world. It expanded my mind to think of things in such a broader way of the what ifs and the holy shits and all of that. Like, just, you know, it's so hard to explain. I mean, both of you have seen The Matrix, correct?
I would agree. I
Yes.
think that one of the biggest things about The Matrix is that there really wasn't a movie like it before it.
No.
It was so unique and so different, so stylized. The tricks that they were doing with the camera, the slow motion stuff, the jumping off the walls, but then on top of the visual stuff, the idea that you just mentioned that, you know, philosophically, it was like a 1-2 punch.
It became an obsession for me. Since I saw that. I saw the
everything
movie.
Like the fight scenes were different. Everything was different about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of almost like the ultimate martial arts movie in the sense of like actual, you know, Asian martial arts movies, kind of marrying philosophy with action, but it was fucking the ultimate at both.
Exactly. And then they talk. So you have the first Matrix, which, by the way, I just heard is going to get a reboot.
Oh no.
Which I don't want. You know what? We're not going to get into that right now.
We kind of already got into it a little while ago with the
Yeah.
when they kind of remake or make sequels to or reboots or whatever.
Yeah, it's just never going to live up to it.
It's not, but so if we look at The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions moving forward, people are like, these are shitty fucking movies.
Yeah.
And my response is this. Those are two bad movies that extend the lore of something that I love.
Yeah.
And that, for me, was I went to the theater to see Reloaded.
Yeah.
I went to the theater to see Revolutions. Why did I go? I wasn't going in thinking this is going to live up to The Matrix, the first one. However, it will expand the lore of a world, of a universe that I want to know more about in terms of expanding my brain. And then the final fight scene between Agent Smith and fucking Neo was mind-blowing. And I also liked in Reloaded, they added this little thing, which I thought was funny. So, in essence, the Matrix is a giant computer, and we all live inside of it. It's a computer that is a...
I keep falling asleep. Keep going. No,
Great.
I don't want to be rude.
Such a douchebag. There's these... We're in a computer-generated fantasy world, right? And they're like... So, Neo's asking about these people he recently fought that were like, what the fuck? They were like ghosts and werewolves or whatever, and vampires, and they're like, what the fuck is that all about? And she goes... Well, they're viruses. They're computer programs that are added. Anytime someone sees an angel, sees a werewolf, sees a vampire, it's just someone fucking around in the Matrix creating some kind of like program.
Virus. Yeah.
For some reason, as a kid, I thought that was such a cool
a way to look at it.
Yeah, like wow, that's really neat. So someone who was able to hack into the Matrix and add a little like program, add a little like virus. Did vampires and angels and I thought that was really neat. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of Interstellar, I want to keep this as brief as possible.
Please do. Because we haven't seen it.
Interstellar is...
It's just so good.
It discusses what is the highest and most influential power that we have that we do not know how to use, but could possibly use.
Okay.
Is non-quantifiable and has no rhyme or reason, and that's love.
I thought you were going to say the Force.
No. This Interstellar is about love, and I don't mean love between a man and a woman. And
the way God intended.
I don't mean gay love.
Oh.
I mean love. Love. It's so hard to since you two fucking pieces of shit haven't seen this movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, both of you are stupid. I've gone to the theater twice to see this movie.
I think there are a lot of stupid people out there who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Also.
So you're just, I'm just part of that group. I'm not the only one. No, but you need to see this movie. It made me cry, like literally cry like a child twice. Casey Affleck in the movie was fantastic for being a huge piece of shit. Excuse me. John Lithgow was fantastic, but honestly, the fact that Matthew McConaughey didn't win an Oscar for his performance, I don't even know what else to say.
I'm okay with him not winning an Oscar.
Well, you haven't seen Interstellar yet, so I mean, let's look at his past movies. I agree with you, 100%. But Interstellar,
Dallas Buyers Club. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
it was alright.
it was okay. Yeah.
Oh, I thought his performance in it was pretty good.
He was great. You know what?
Amazing in Interstellar.
It's one of those situations where he's a great actor, I guess. He's a really good actor, also. Yeah. But it's reaching the point where he's annoying me. I'll say that.
I get you, buddy. Yeah. It's like, all right, Matt, enough for now.
I saw him in some like group interview where they were interviewing actor and directors, also basically people who were going to be nominated for Oscars, and he was there. And you have like Casey Affleck and the actor from Moonlight. Nope, maybe one of Adam Driver.
Adam Driver.
Yeah. So they have all these intelligent, articulate people sitting there, and Casey Affleck was being asked a question about a scene in was it Manchester by the Sea? I haven't seen that yet either. I really want to see it. He was being asked about a scene in that where he's talking with the other chick there, the female star of the movie.
Yeah.
And they're kind of interrupting each other. It's kind of awkward, and it was kind of realistic, and it was, really well acted and stuff. And the guy asking him the question was asking him if that was scripted or whatever. And Casey Affleck had just gotten through explaining, like, yeah, it was actually written word for word that way, like where to interrupt each other. He's like, we actually really did follow the script
rehearse it, probably.
verbatim.
Yeah.
And then Matthew McConaughey interjects and goes into his loopy fucking, Texan philosophy about, sometimes you do take and you just go with it. And you kind of afterwards, you look to the director and you just kind of wink and say, that was it. And Casey Affleck's like, well, I mean, no, we really did follow the script. He was trying to be polite about it, but it's like, shut up, Matthew McConaughey. Just you weren't listening at all.
You realize where McConaughey came from, though. He's a fucking nobody. He didn't go to acting school.
Yeah, I know.
He just kind of showed up, and everyone was like, "Wow, you're good."
I don't hate Matthew McConaughey by any stretch. I
want to hug him.
I mean, sometimes people do need to shut up. Sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean,
and I'm looking at you, Rocness.
I'm well aware. I don't give a fuck. I keep talking.
So
as I interrupt you and hijack your choice.
But you didn't really explain why you. Okay, so they just blew your mind, and that's why there's two number fours. That's fucking bullshit.
These are okay. First of all, don't poke holes in my shit. Okay. Right?
Yeah, I'm poking holes in your shit. It's bullshit.
The Matrix and Interstellar are two movies that I went to the theater to see, and when I left,
but one's better than the other. No, one's better than the other.
I don't have a better.
So is your top 5 calibrated on how much your life changed based on, because you have 2 separate movies as a number 4?
Yeah, those 2 movies made me feel the exact same way in terms of how I look at life.
This is a top 5 list. Yeah. Not a top 5 list of movies that may or may not have blown your mind.
I have 3 other movies that don't have the same reasoning that are singular. Okay? So this is my 4. I couldn't choose between the 2 of them. And the common likeness... The
listeners
thread,
have voted.
The common thread...
And they're telling you you're wrong.
Fuck you.
They have.
No, that's not true. These 2 movies...
What was your number 5?
My number 5 was The Dark Knight.
Then The Dark Knight is 6.
No, because I don't have The Matrix and
Joe?
Interstellar.
No, I'm sorry, it's number 6.
Yeah. Dark Knight is 6, and those 2 can fight over 4 and 5, but that's where they go.
What is your number 4?
Okay.
Fuck you, Dan.
I actually have...
Fuck you, Dan. This is Dan's address, and I'm going to post it at the bottom. We're going to go to his house.
Everybody knows I'm right. It's cool.
No, it's bullshit.
Interestingly enough, I have 28 movies for number 4.
Yeah. I mean, by the Rocness's logic, that's fair.
No, you could do whatever. This is your top 5. I don't fucking tell you, Dan, this is how you need to do your top 5. I don't look at Joe and say, your top 5, let's do it.
No, but universally, the idea of a top 5 list consists of 5 movies. Or at least, when you say... or when you say Back to the Future, the series, you're talking about it as one complete work.
Right.
So, yeah, that's there in my list.
These are 2 separate movies.
Well,
anyways.
You know what?
It's number 4... I wasn't lying about the 28 part. 28 Days Later, actually.
Oh.
I'll go into that.
I don't want to. I don't want to try creating a really good case for this one, because I did kind of come up with this list on the drive over here, because I had all these movies and I was trying
circulating through your brain.
And I did settle on 5 movies.
And you were drunk.
So anyway, yeah. Well, yeah. I said I was driving. I was.
You have to be nowadays.
Yeah, hammered, writing out a list of movies. But 28 Days Later...
No seatbelt on.
And I was kind of... it's on the short list of movies that it's, clearly kind of a genre movie. It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
And almost a zombie movie, but it's an outbreak movie. But it's one of the few movies that stands alone, like you were kind of talking about with The Dark Knight. It's just a good movie. It's not just a good horror movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good film. And
it
also...
Agreed.
Gritty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the time when Josh and we were all making those stupid movies we would make.
Yeah.
But it was funny because they were so ridiculous, but we really tried as hard as we could to ultimately make them look good, in editing and stuff like that.
Right.
And 28 Days Later actually influenced me a lot, and sort of, it's another movie that, I mean, I saw it when I was like 16 or whatever. But not only did it kind of influence the way I analyzed films, but it also introduced me to new music too. It was so different to the way it was shot. It was shot like on video, like it looks like sort of it was shot on like a high 8 camera.
Yeah.
And yet the shots are so brilliant too, though.
Yeah.
Even though it does look like fucking surveillance footage or something. Great actors, and what is it? Danny Boyle, director, Train Spotting. Great director, and the music actually too. It introduced me to a band that I still listen to now that I think is, like a top 10 list of bands for me, Mogwai. But not that Mogwai's in the movie, but Godspeed You Black Emperor, that one awesome scene when he first wakes up and he's, walking around and
then Band in London.
Yeah. And Godspeed You Black Emperor is the band that made that song. I forgot the name of the song.
Yeah.
But because of that, I discovered Mogwai and got into that. It opened up a whole new
World.
realm for our stupid movie making.
Yeah.
And seeing how not just the score to a movie, but using how carefully you can select music and how it can just enhance your movie.
Affect the tone.
Yeah, wow. I think that's not something that's been brought up yet. And Joe,
that's why I brought him in here.
Okay, first of all, let's stop for a second.
No.
Fuck you. That's Joe.
I'm taking credit for how awesome Joe is. I'm taking all the credit. No.
Joe brought up music. I believe it was Joe who said it.
But it was my idea to bring him in here.
It was. I believe both of us had said.
No.
Yeah,
okay,
but
first of all, eat my asshole, okay? Because I said you're like, who? I said we bringing Joe.
But
so, yeah, my idea.
To be fair, though, it was my idea to record this without clothes on.
And we thank you for that.
Why do we always go there? We always go there.
Well, at least
we have some
did
anal beads left from the last episode.
Anti-spray.
Anti-spray.
So yeah, 28 Days Later. I think it's a strong number 4. And
agreed.
Yeah. Just
side note. 28 weeks later, not as strong as a movie, shot completely different.
Still great use of music, though. At least they got that part right.
That's fine. I think one of the scariest scenes in all of cinema that I've ever seen is, and Joe knows what I'm talking about, kids in the movie go back to their abandoned house. For what reason, I can't remember, but they end up discovering their mother in the attic. Ooh.
Yeah.
I was like, ew.
I'm not a big zombie guy.
She's not a zombie.
But 28 Days Later was a great movie.
Right. And that's the thing, too, is like, as far as like, okay, I know on the nerdy level, it's not technically a zombie movie, but practically speaking, it is. Okay, it's a zombie movie. And I'm not really. I was never scared by zombies. Never thought it was really that cool. But that movie is fucking awesome.
Well, yeah, and going back to on a nerdy level, it's not really a zombie movie. But for people like me that hate zombies because I think it's overdone, and I think there's so many fucking movies like zombie. Oh my god, it's a zombie movie. It's not a zombie movie. Oh my god. If John Travolta was doing this, but 28 Days Later, however, it's a good movie. It's a movie that is good. Yeah, and I would watch it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like The Walking Dead where it's like it's fucking stupid, slow, boring.
Well,
I know it's not a movie; it's a TV show.
Other than 28 Days Later, there was another straight up zombie movie with fast zombies. The one in the mall. What was that one?
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
Dawn of the Dead, which obviously was a reboot that we saw.
Yeah, and okay. Also back to the conversation with Russ, it was actually one of the few reboots that I thought was really good.
Right, and because the original they were slow zombies.
Yeah.
And the reboot they were fast zombies.
Then you've got Resident Evil.
But was that the first time that our generation had seen, or anybody had seen fast zombies, or was that in...
I didn't even realize there was a classification. This is new to me.
Because I remember kind of being blown away by that.
I think 28 Days Later came first. I want to say 28 Days Later was like maybe 2002, and Dawn of the Dead was like 2004. Okay. I could be 100% wrong. I'll look.
But to be fair, to your point, 28 Days Later wasn't really a zombie movie. It was more of an outbreak.
Okay,
like
28
people are
Days
just
Later,
fucking
2002.
sick, and that you're going to die from this virus. That was the kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, that, zombies, whatever. 28 Days Later was a great film.
Yeah.
I just, that's my...
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead.
We can argue
2007.
semantics all day, but I mean, 28 Days Later, I'm agreeing with Joe. Whether or not it was a fucking zombie movie, zombies, outbreak of zombies, it was a great film.
Agreed.
I enjoyed it. So that's Joe. Do you have anything else?
Nope, I stopped at number 4, so I can leave.
All right, so we're only going to get Joe's 5 and 4, and we're going to ask him to leave politely.
Yeah.
No, actually, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a short break. I want to thank everyone, and I hope you come back when we come back.
Shut the fuck up.
Thanks a lot. We'll be right back. The Critical Mass Podcast can now be found at the 8o'clockstop.com. That's the 8o'clockstop.com. We're there along with our friends at the Hypothetically Speaking podcast, where they answer hypothetical questions. It's a lot of fun, and you'll also find a whole bunch of other fun multimedia there, from music to art to, well, all kinds of stuff. Check it out real soon. That's the 8o'clockstop.com. Hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of our 17-part saga, Top 5 Movies of All Time. We will be back with part 2, actually, of this. Stay tuned, and in the meantime, don't kill each other.